during this pandemic. Today, I want to introduce you to lysine. Lysine is a very unique amino acid, and I want to tell you all of the wonderful things that lysine can do to help to support our health. I just want to give you a quick little reminder, though, that our stores are open and we do have curbside pickup available for your convenience. So do take advantage of that. This is something that we know a lot of customers do have concerns. You still want to get your supplements, but you want to do it in a safe way. So we do have that curbside pickup available at all of our locations. Now, let's talk about lysine and how lysine can be beneficial when it comes to your immune system. This is a fun little amino acid that I talk about on a relatively frequent basis when people come in and they have concerns about their immune system. And many people have heard about how lysine can be beneficial in the setting of herpes viruses, as well as if someone has shingles, and neither of which is a fun experience to go through. And what we know about lysine is that it can help to offset the issue with an overabundance of arginine in the body. So if we have too much arginine, certain viruses actually utilize the amino acid arginine for their viral replication. So if we can kind of dampen that down by having an overabundance of lysine, then that can stop that viral replication. And that's what we see in settings of herpes simplex 1 and 2, as well as in shingles. So we certainly know it's working within the immune system, but how exactly it's doing that has kind of been a mystery, but they actually have been able to narrow it down to our adaptive immune system. And this is adaptive, also known as our acquired immune system. This is where your antibodies or your immunoglobulins are going to take over. So you have the initial response, which is the innate immune response, and then you have the acquired or the adaptive. So what we know is that lysine, L-lysine, and oftentimes people ask, well, why is there an L in front of it? Well, the L is just for the structural component to the amino acid itself, so L-lysine. And so what we know is that L-lysine can help to support the immunoglobulins and immunoglobulin G in particular. So when we're thinking about how our body responds and reacts to different pathogens, in particular viruses, we know that those immunoglobulins are very, very important. So we know lysine does that, but lysine also does other really remarkable things in the body. So when we talk about overall well-being, lysine is critical for the intestinal absorption of calcium. And many people are completely unaware of this, which is why I oftentimes advise to women, especially postmenopausal women, to take 500 milligrams of L-lysine every day to help to support that intake of calcium coming from your good green leafy vegetables. Want to make sure that we're getting the calcium from those. And lysine is required in that. We also know that lysine plays a role in terms of carnitine. Remember, carnitine is another amino acid that is responsible for regulating the transportation of fatty acids from the outside of our cell to the inside of the cell so that energy can be produced. So anytime we can enhance cellular energy, it's always a good thing. And we recognize that lysine is a key component in that energy production cycle. So lysine is good for our bone health, and a real interesting study that they did where they gave lysine, 500 milligrams of lysine daily to postmenopausal women. And when they did their bone density, they found that lysine was very supportive when it came to the remineralization of the bones. Remember, we take calcium in from our foods or supplementation, and we need that calcium to make its way to the bones to maintain that bone density as we get older. Remember, things like osteopenia and osteoporosis are not limited just to postmenopausal women. This can affect men as well. So lysine is something that would be a nice addition to anyone who has concerns with maintaining your immune system, first and foremost. If you do have a history of things like herpes, and this can be either in the form of herpes 1, which would be your common cold sore, and oftentimes people can get these outbreaks of herpes during times of stress. We also know this is true with herpes simplex 2, which is the genital form of herpes. So lysine, definitely a good idea for anyone who has a history of that. We also know that it's beneficial just for our overall wellness. We know that people who follow a more vegan diet oftentimes are low in lysine, and this can actually depress your immune defenses. So if you follow more of a plant-based diet, it also would be advantageous to incorporate lysine into your daily routine. So lysine is this very powerful little amino acid that oftentimes is overlooked. We also recognize that it plays a role in nitric oxide release. This is the role that it plays also with arginine. Arginine is a direct correlator to nitric oxide release. So for overall health and wellness, we certainly know lysine is very beneficial. Now, interestingly enough, there's been some studies in the last probably 5 to 10 years where they've been looking at the impact of lysine deficiency and mood disorders. So they have been able to basically declare that if someone is low in lysine, you have a greater likelihood of having issues such as anxiety. They've done multiple studies to indicate that lysine and lysine deficiency is basically a driver for anxiety. Also, they've looked at lysine deficiencies even in the setting of schizophrenia. So we know that lysine is this very important amino acid, and if you're not obtaining enough in your diet, then it would be wise to incorporate it in. We also know that many athletes like to replenish their lysine stores. And since we know that there is this connection to the immune system, I would certainly encourage you to be wise to your lysine intake and make sure that you are getting adequate lysine from diet or from supplement. Now, how much does someone need to take when we're talking bone health? Ideally, 500 milligrams daily. If we have the concerns for the immune system and we want to enhance our immune defenses, then you probably want to be up closer to the 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams per day to help that immune system response. So that is all that I have for you for today on lysine. Remember, I will be back with you next week, and we will be talking about more nutrients that are beneficial to enhance and support your immune defenses during this time. Remember to check out our website, invitehealth.com. We have our daily podcast. We also have our radio programs. Don't be shy or bashful. If you happen to have questions, definitely reach out to us. We are here to help you help yourself. Thank you so much.